The Fat Controller was taking a long holiday break, and his absence from the railway would definitely cause confusions, so a temporary administrator would be implemented pending his holiday. The Fat Controller greeted the engines in the sheds in the morning. Along with him stood a tall man with a black suit. "Good morning, everyone. As you know, I'm about to go on holiday, so to watch over things while I'm gone is Mr. Alderman. He's an assistant controller from the Vickerstown Railway. Please make him feel welcome and follow what he says. I'll let him introduce himself and address you." "Good morning, all," stated Mr. Alderman. My, what grand-looking engines we have here." All the engines smiled. They felt really good about themselves from the compliment. They felt flattered. "As your humble Fat Controller has stated, I will be in charge for the next 2 weeks. I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you. But continue your daily tasks as usual. Nothing will change, I promise you." "Thank you, Mr. Alderman. Now excuse me, everyone, I've got to meet my family at Knapford. Goodbye." "Enjoy your vacation, sir," all the engines said. Business as usual continued. Gordon took the express, Percy and Thomas shunted, Duck worked at the docks, Henry took various heavy goods, Edward ran local passenger trains, while James worked the local coal deliveries. Needless to say, everything was going smoothly. However, Percy, one Wednesday afternoon, was feeling awful. He was due for oiling, and his pistons ached. He shunted himself into a siding next to the sheds where Mr. Alderman greeted him. "Are you feeling all right, Percy?" he asked. "No, sir, I'm not at all," said Percy. "My piston rods feel awful. They squeak whenever I puff, and they ache really badly. But I tried my best to get through the day." Mr. Alderman walked around the side of Percy and squatted down to look at his piston rods. He reached out and grabbed the bare metal of Percy's piston rods. "Oh, I know you did a good job. You've done a very good job indeed. You could use a little oil. Do you mind if I do it myself?" Percy was confused. No, not at all, sir." Percy didn't know how to react. He found Mr. Alderman's tone kind of odd, but he felt special that Mr. Alderman wanted to do the work himself. "I'll be right back, Percy. There's oil can in the sheds, right?" he said, grasping Percy's front buffer. Yes, in the back," said Percy. "Don't go nowhere. I'll be right back." "Such a beautiful engine," he said as he walked away. A few minutes later, Mr. Alderman returned with the oil can. He sprayed it on Percy's piston rods, lubricating them. He spread the oil around with a rag and hummed wantingly. "Yes, that's better, right? Yes, it is. You're such a cool engine, Percy. I've always loved saddle tanks growing up." Is that better?" Yes, sir," said Percy, who was a bit unnerved. "Now, off you go. But before you do, can you do me a favor?" Percy stared at Mr. Alderman. "Can you have a great day for me?" "Of course, sir." "Good. Now go get your mail train ready." Percy puffed away, feeling uncomfortable, but he also just thought he was overreacting to what just happened. It was late in the evening. He met Thomas at the station, who had a line of mail trucks ready to go. He said nothing, but Thomas eyed a discernible look on Percy's face. "Percy? Percy?" "Oh, yeah. Hi, Thomas." "Percy, what's the matter with you?" Nothing. Just something weird happened today." "Oh? Like what?" "It's Mr. Alderman, the temporary controller," stated Percy. "Well, he seems like a nice guy, but there's something a bit off about him. I had to get my piston rods oiled today, but instead of doing it at the works, he wanted to do it himself." "Oh, getting special treatment, is it now, Percy? smirked Thomas. No, not like that at all. It's the way he did it. It felt wrong, and he took way too much, well, how do I say it? He was way too happy to do it, said Percy. Thomas was puzzled by what his best friend was saying, but he was trying so hard to understand him. The two didn't let the events get to them, though, and happily took the mail all over the island. They returned to the sheds in the wee hours of the morning. Henry was awake and just leaving for the kipper. His fire was being lit, and slowly steam built up in his boiler. Thomas was exhausted and knocked out asleep the moment he got in the shed, but Percy was still awake. "Hello, Percy. Why aren't you asleep?" asked Henry. "Oh, hey, Henry. I got some things on my mind. I'm not exactly tired yet." "Like?" "Well, it's the new controller," and Percy explained what happened. Needless to say, Henry was shocked by his behavior. "Have you told anyone this?" "Besides you and Thomas, no." "Percy, that kind of behavior is unacceptable and disgusting. If it continues, you have to report it," said Henry. Percy wanted to, but he was also afraid of saying anything. He was afraid if he threw such accusations to somebody that he would get into trouble, or people would think he was lying. As Percy drifted off to sleep, he had terrible nightmares. He dreamt of some shadowy monster scraping the paint off his boiler and stripping off his unique safety green color. When Percy awoke, it was late morning, and all the engines were already gone for their jobs. He felt a pain all over his body, and when he looked back, he saw his paint had been scraped off, just like in his dream last night. His number 6 was gone, and the slash marks were massive. What, he said in confusing shock. Percy was taken to the works to be repainted. Mr. Alderman greeted him. "Well, Percy, it seems some vandals have broken into the sheds," he said. "But don't worry. We'll have you painted again with that smart green paint." Mr. Alderman reached out his hand and grabbed Percy's buffer and twisted his palm around it. "You know, green has always been my favorite color, and I always thought you looked very dapper in it." Percy glanced down at Mr. Alderman's hand. He swore he could see green-colored flakes stuck underneath his fingernails. In his mind, he was very afraid, but he tried his best not to show it. Thank you, sir." The workmen got to work repainting Percy. While they did, Percy glanced across the steamworks and looked in the management office. There was Mr. Alderman, staring intently with a smirk on his face, as green paint covered up the slashes on Percy's boiler. Percy was fearful. Henry, in the meantime, was waiting at Knapford, where he was talking to Gordon about Mr. Alderman. Gordon wore a concerned look as Henry described what Percy had told him prior. "That's disturbing," the big blue engine stated. "But it also could be just mistaken intent." "I don't know, Gordon. Percy was quite shaken by it. Now he's at the works being repainted. Apparently, vandals broke into the sheds and scraped the paint off his boiler." "Stuff and nonsense," said James. "Percy getting special attention and treatment by the new controller when I, the most splendid red engine on Sodor, should have it instead." Gordon and Henry were cross. "It's not that kind of attention, little James." "You two are just jealous," James snapped. "Jealous that it wasn't you." "I wish it was me," snapped James, and he snorted off. Back at the works, Percy was getting his number 6 repainted onto his cab, when after staring him down for what seemed like hours, Mr. Alderman stepped out of the office and approached the workman with the paint gun. "Take a break there, Smithers," he said, reading the workman's name tag. "I want to try painting old Percy." "Percy, don't you feel put upon?" "What?" said Percy nervously. Put upon. You know, put upon with work, put upon the rails. And now I'm putting upon a number 6 on you. You've always been my favorite, Percy. You always were. Percy said nothing. The masking tape was being peeled off, revealing Percy's yellow number 6 with red outlines. God, it's so beautiful, said Mr. Alderman. Percy was ready to leave. He had enough of this weird encounter and let off steam. No, not quite yet. Eager, aren't we? Said Mr. Alderman. You have to dry a bit, so I'm going to keep you here overnight. But, sir, the mail train, said Percy, searching for an excuse. Don't worry. Edward will help out Thomas. You're going to stay here to make sure that beautiful green paint doesn't drip. As Mr. Alderman walked away, Percy felt relieved. It had only been a few days since the Fat Controller left for his vacation. He was enjoying a hot summer's day on the beach with his grandchildren when he was called away to take a phone call. Hello? Is this Sir Topham Hatt? Yes. Who might I be speaking to? I'm Sergeant Anderson, Police Chief of Vickerstown. I understand that you have taken holiday and have hired a new controller to watch over things. Mr. Alderman? Yes, that's correct. Is something wrong? Unfortunately so, sir. We found Mr. Alderman in his home here. He's claiming a madman assaulted him, tied him up, and took his clothes and keys. But that's impossible, said Sir Topham Hatt. Alderman is already there, running the line. Sir, that's not Mr. Alderman. He's pretending to be Mr. Alderman. The real Mr. Alderman is here in the hospital recovering from the assault. The Fat Controller's face turned white. Thank you for letting me know. I have to go. He hung up and sauntered over to his wife. Lady, do you mind watching the young ones until I get back? There's an emergency on Sodor. Of course, dear, replied his wife. The Fat Controller ran over to his car, but then thought. There was a station near the beach, and instead decided to take the next train back to Sodor. He ran to the ticket counter. When's the next train leaving for Sodor? He asked the man behind the counter. Oh, it's a goods train being pulled by Duck. Here he comes now. Duck whistled as he pulled into the station. Oh, good afternoon, sir. Enjoying your holiday, said Duck. Never mind that, Duck. Take me to Sodor. Sir? I'll explain on the way, Duck. The Fat Controller jumped into Duck's cab, and Duck whistled and hurried away. Back on Sodor, all the engines backed into the sheds. But something was wrong. Where's Percy? Asked Toby. He should have been out of the works by now. Gordon and Henry were a little afraid. The other engines conversed with confusion amongst each other. He was getting repainted, said Edward. He was getting special treatment from Alderman, said James. He said Mr. Alderman was an odd duck, said Thomas. The engines were interrupted by a whistle as Duck puffed into the yards, and out stepped the Fat Controller. Sir? They all said. Yes, where's Alderman? Sir, what? What are you doing back so soon? Never mind that, Thomas. We have an emergency. Mr. Alderman isn't Mr. Alderman, and the Fat Controller explained. Needless to say, the other engines were horrified. Now where is he? James spoke up. He was with Percy last. He said he wanted to drive him himself to see if his paint dried correctly. All right, which way did they go? They were going to the end of the Kirk Ronan branch, said Henry. We gotta hurry there quick and call the police, said the Fat Controller. Percy awoke from what seemed like a long nap. In front of him, staring at him, was Mr. Alderman. Wakey, wakey, Buttercup. Enjoy your nap, I'm sure you did. Special recipe of mine that I snuck into your water tank. You slept soundly, and you looked so peaceful. Percy was groggy when he awoke. What? What did you do to me? What are you going to do with me? What? Asked Percy, who was both afraid and still woozy. Oh, nothing. I just wanted a few souvenirs before I take my leave, he said, grinning menacingly with a wrench in his hands. See, you'll fetch quite a profit on SMAD. SMAD? Asked Percy. Scrap Merchant Anonymous Dealers. And considering you're quite famous, I'm keeping these wheels for myself. Percy looked down. All of his wheels and his piston assembly was gone. Ah! He shrieked in horror. Why are you doing this? Who are you? I'm just a collector of shorts, and there's one thing this super fan of the Railway series would like, and that is a piece of your little chubby face. The deranged man then pulled out a large kitchen knife and began to walk over to Percy's face. Just close your eyes. It'll be over in just a minute. Struggling will only make it hurt more. Suddenly, spotlights lit up the area. The sounds of guns being cocked engulfed the air. That's quite enough, boomed a voice. The madman threw his hands up, dropping the knife on the ground. Whoopsie daisy. Here come the party poopers. There goes my fun. On the ground now, dirtbag. He was tackled to the ground and put in cuffs. Percy, are you all right? Oh, sir, said Percy with tears in his eyes. It's all right now, Percy. You're safe. The Fat Controller looked at the deranged man on the ground. You're going away for a long time there, Burke. I'm pressing full charges. Burke? Said Percy, confused. Yes, Burke. Him and his brother Blair were workmen in the steamworks. I hired them personally. Then I noticed the repairs they were making were faulty. They began auctioning off pieces of my engines on a black market scrap dealer site. Seems like they haven't given up on a life of crime. Let's get you to the works, Percy, for proper repairs. And Percy, for the first time in what felt like a long 2 days, smiled weakly. The days following, Burke was sentenced to 40 years in prison for his crimes. His brother Blair was still at large, according to the coppers, but they wouldn't stop following his trail and wouldn't rest until he was brought to justice. Percy was repaired and soon back to work. Still, he had trouble adjusting to his job again after what happened, but his friends were there to comfort and talk to him whenever he needed it.